Welcome to a busted play. An illegal use of hands to the face short.
The Indianapolis Colts, with all their quarterback struggles and, I guess just that basically plaguing the team, did manage to go out and lock up one of their key contributors for a long time here in the future. Darius Leonard just recently signed a 5-year extension worth $99.25 million. Initial thoughts, Jake?
Yeah, he's lucky Fred Warner got his contract done before he did. Cause he got paid. Yeah, I don't know if the Colts should have paid him as much as they did, though. That's the thing. I mean, either the Colts pay him that much, or he eventually walks in free agency and some other team pays him that much. It's just how it is. The next man up is always gets more. It's how the NFL is like designed to work with the cap and everything. But Fred Warner does a lot more for his team in pass coverage than Darius Leonard does, so I think that warranted the amount of money that Fred Warner got. Darius Leonard is like the cornerstone of that defense, though. He is the captain of that defense, does everything. Not so much pass coverage, like I said. He's not as great at it as Fred Warner is, but he does do it from time to time. Glad he got his bag. Yeah, he got paid, and I'm glad for him. But the Colts cap situation is going to be hurting now because of all that money that they just forked over to a linebacker.
It's so funny looking at it just after like Josh Allen gets paid, and it's like, oh, that's like pebbles. Like what are you doing? And that's not even $20 million a year. Josh Allen's making like 43.5 a year. It's like, okay, let's talk about the position here again. Let's get back to it, because it's like that was really my first thought when I saw the contract. It's just like, okay, the last contract I saw before this was a quarterback contract, so I have to think about linebackers again. Okay, I get back to linebackers. Not really a guy that I would classify as an edge, although he could play that role because he's extremely versatile. That's the interesting thing with him. He's mainly an off-ball linebacker, but it feels like you could basically move him all over the defense, and he would probably be successful, which is awesome. And I don't even think he's necessarily poor in pass coverage. It's just comparing him to Fred Warner, he doesn't look that great. He was really good at it, but I mean, I just can't say enough, like, how versatile this guy is. He literally can do anything you would ask of a linebacker, which is basically where you got to start for the baseline of this conversation. The interesting thing is seeing that number at 99.25. That's such a random number to come out to. Like, we're not quite going to pay you $20 million a year. It's like, we're slightly worse than that. You're not that good. And comparing it to Fred Warner, though, that's a big bump. It's only been what, maybe maximum like a month since Fred Warner got paid, and he's getting like an extra what, $3.5 million a year now. He was at Fred Warner was at 16.5 or 18. I feel like it was it was 16.5, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think 16.5.
Yeah. How the heck did he get that bump up to 19 mil plus a year? I don't know how he pulled that off. I mean, great job to his agent. But then the other thing to consider here is we've got to talk about the roster that's around him with the Colts and the roster that it was around Fred Warner. We know that rookie quarterback we basically eventually got to that point in our Fred Warner discussion where we realized, okay, that rookie quarterback contract for Trey Lance is really going to help this team be able to pay a little bit more of a premium to guys at other positions if they need it. The thing is if they paid Darius Leonard the same as Fred Warner after that conversation we had about Fred Warner, I would feel better. Man, it just feels like they're kind of bumping up the market without needing to. The funny thing talking about the Colts, although they don't have a quarterback who seems to be the future as a rookie at the moment, unless Sam Ehlinger turns into something amazing, the interesting part with that is that they don't really have a quarterback at the same time as well. And the other part of that, like, they don't have a quarterback they're sold on for the future. I don't think they're like committed to Carson Wentz at all. And then the other part of that is that they're also never big free agency spenders. If you ever go out and look at like cap space available for teams when they get to the offseason and just ready for free agency, the Colts always have plenty of money to spend, and they just, for whatever reason, kind of keep their money to themselves, pay players in-house, and then draft guys that they think will be successful. And that's kind of been their formula for recent years. it's gone pretty well for them because they've drafted pretty well. But the only problem, with this Darius Leonard contract is ever if they change their mind and they do eventually want to become big spenders in free agency, then you could look at the contract and say, I don't like this as much. But really, I'll say if their general manager keeps the same kind of path that he's gone down for a long time here, I can't knock the contract too much because A, they've drafted so well, and B, they've maintained those players afterwards. But hitting on draft picks consistently is hard.
Yeah, I looked at Fred Warner's contract real quick. He's actually making 19 mil a year. It's 95 mil 5 years. Okay. So he's making 19 a year.
My fault for misremembering. Then yeah, he's I guess making just above that at roughly almost 20 mil a year. Makes sense that he would get a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for underestimating you,
Oh,
Fred
don't
Warner.
worry. People are already typing in the comment section. It's fine. The comment is already there. It's fine. But yeah, if Chris Ballard keeps building the team like he has been building, which I mean hasn't been a lot of success that way. I mean, the success with the players they've drafted, they've hit with guys that they've drafted. It's just that hasn't translated to wins. Last season they made it in as a 7 seed, which they're lucky that the 7 seed even got implemented, because if not, last season kind of would have looked like a failure. And I think that will trick a lot of teams that are like borderline if they should rebuild or not. The 7 seed's there to trick them, be like, we were in the playoffs last year. I think the Colts might fall into that trap of, we were in the playoffs last year. We just need to have a more consistent quarterback and youth in the quarterback room. The Phillip Rivers, so they bring in Carson Wentz. And it's like, yeah, Trey Lance's contract allows you to pay guys like that. Carson Wentz does not have that friendly of a contract. And that's where a lot of the money that they kept is going to. It's going to Carson Wentz. And he might not even be with the team after this season then his cap hit gets spread out over the course of 3 teams then, if the Eagles, the Colts, and if they find a way to trade him and go to that 3rd team, which is rough for those 3 teams involved. But if that's how the Colts want to build their team and keep building their team, and they can see success that way, they have 2 younger guys at QB in Jacob Eason and Sam Ehlinger that could go there, both on rookie contracts, not in the 1st round either. So they're really cheap, like less than probably $1 million a year, cheap. So go for it. If you think you can make a playoff run with Jacob Eason or Sam Ehlinger, I'm all for it here. And then just pay everyone on that defense so I can learn their name.
Yeah, I like the last point there. And I think it's funny because actually Jacob Eason, some guys like coming in as rookie quarterbacks, like Davis Mills, even if he went to like some team that was like kind of on the brink of being good, like I wouldn't say that they have a chance. I think that both Jacob Eason or Sam Ehlinger have enough traits that you could say, okay, there's potentially something there. And really even more so Jacob Eason. He just had a heck of an arm in college, if I remember correctly. And, that's the interesting part of this. But, yeah, I feel like the thing that's going to be holding them back is probably that the Colts, at least, which is what it's been in recent years, too, since Andrew Luck is gone, is kind of just their quarterback position. Quarterback position is what's going to be holding them back. And I don't know with how they kind of are playing things. I don't know if they're ever going to be able to be that team that ever gets too close to the Super Bowl, but I don't know if they're also either going to be able to be that team that gets bad enough that they actually get a high draft pick to eventually get one of those good quarterbacks. It's really kind of a tough middle of the road spot they've got themselves in. They're drafting good players and they're playing well and they're maintaining those players, but those players are only getting them to here if they spent some money in free agency or bought some or drafted a good quarterback, traded up for a good quarterback. They could get up to here, but kind of just with what they've been doing for the past 3 years, they're just kind of like right in the middle, not up here, not down here, just kind of staying in the middle. And they may have some years where they look a little better. Last year, they went 10-6, but this year we're kind of guessing that they'll be on the opposite end of the spectrum at like 6-11 or 7-10, just based off who their opponents are, and that may dictate more of their record each year than anything. Is just who they're playing. be somewhere in that middle range, but it'll basically be based off who they play.
Hmm. I mean, I think the Colts' best chance, if they were to rebuild per se, package Carson Wentz and whatever your draft pick is, and see how high that can get you up. See if you can get some dumb team, like if the Raiders are really bad and they're up there, see if you can get them to bite on that and trade up and get a young QB. Because I think that's really, they have them, it's a good predicament to be in because the team is good. It's just that they're one consistent position away
Yeah.
from being great. And it just so happens that that one position that they need consistency from is the most important position in football. Uh, yeah, and this Carson Wentz injury is not making it easier. It's funny how this spiraled in from Darius Leonard's contract, but those guys can get paid. They just need to find a quarterback that can allow it. And if these young guys are the guys, I mean, let them play QB. Figure it out.
I mean, I feel like the basic conclusion I'm coming to here is I'm okay with the Darius Leonard contract, but I feel like we need to do. I know we traded for Carson Wentz this offseason, but I feel like we need to do a little more than just re-signing our own guys. It feels like we're almost exclusively re-signing our own guys. The only signings we've had / trades we've had in the past few years are for mediocre QBs. We've went with Jacoby Brissett, Phil Rivers, and now Carson Wentz, and we're just gonna keep running with middle of the road QBs, re-signing our guys so that they never leave the building. And I just don't think that's going to be enough to make them an extremely competitive team in the NFL this time soon. And even though I like the draft picks, I just think that something still needs to change in the front office, even though I like the Darius Leonard contract.
Yeah, if you're going to be paying guys a lot of money, it either should be a lot of money because they're playing real well and you're winning games, or pay them a lot of money because they're really good and the team's really bad and you need them to stick around. That's really what it should be. And the Colts are neither of those, and they're paying Darius Leonard a lot of money for them to go 8-9, 9-8, something like that, and really do nothing. A good draft pick, not going to the playoffs. Tough predicament.
Yeah, it's tough. I think that's all I got. Are you all set?
Yeah, I think we can cut this here.